Hello, here is ZAPY Speaking. Today we will bring you a how-to video. Do you ever have the situation that you need to make a speech the second day? It's neither for the class presentation or your friend's wedding, and you are neither the best man or the bridesmaid. You need to make a killer speech tomorrow to impress all the guests in your room. And now you might be panicking because the speech is not ready. But don't worry, ZAPY Speaking get you covered. We have a very simple structure of how to write a quick speech that's effective and you can deliver it confidently. Let's welcome Aaron here, bring out his speech structure for us. Aaron.
All right, thank you very much, Yangfan. So yeah, what we're doing, we're looking at how to write a speech quickly and effectively. And there's a couple things we can go over that can save you from your rampant habit of procrastination. So let's take a look at this basic structure here. So what you see in front of you see a bunch of words on a page. So let's look at the blue letters first. We'll worry about the red ones in a minute here, but let's worry about the blue ones first. So when we look at this structure, there are three key pieces to any speech. There's the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Now, all we need to worry about with this is what we're going to do first and what we're going to include. So when we find out what we're talking about, if it's at a wedding, we're talking about a person. And generally, with most things, we're going to want to tell a story, especially if it's around a person. So the first thing you're going to come up with when you know what you're going to talk about is a story that sells a point, whatever it is. If you're talking about how the groom at a wedding is kind of an idiot, but they're also an awesome person, find a story that tells that. So the first thing we're going to do is use a story. You're going to come up with a story, and that's the body of your speech. That's the meat. That's the middle. And the benefit here of using is another benefit of using a story, you don't have to memorize it. You already know it. And then once you know your story, that's the first thing you're going to do. That is the first thing you do. Then you're going to come up with the first line of your speech after that, because you're going to have your hook. And a hook just means to catch the audience's attention. It's generally something kind of funny or weird, at the very least unusual, to draw people in. You base the hook on the story. And don't worry, we'll give an example of this in a second. Once you've done that, the second part of the second thing you're going to do in the introduction of the speech is you're going to put in a key idea to tell people what you're going to talk about. So if the groom is an idiot, but they're also a great person, you're going to use your hook, you're going to catch attention, and then you're going to say that they're an idiot, but also a great person. And then in the conclusion, you're just going to remind us how the story supports the key idea you mentioned in the beginning. So as I mentioned in the beginning, the groom is an idiot, but he's also a great person, and our story proves that because, or this is how the story proves that. So that's the basic structure. Now, to prove that it's quick and easy, let's see if we can do this right now. So Yangfan, can you give me a topic real quick, a topic of any kind?
Okay, how about the groom is far away from home and he could be missing home and he do something really dumb.
Okay, the groom. So my brother just got engaged, so I'm going to go with my brother lives really far away from home and what that's like and some things about that. So we're going to do that. So the key idea here, we're going to start with the story. So I'm going to tell the story here, a story from my life of how I started getting along with my brother again, which is because he moved out. So we moved a distance away. This satisfies the topic and how that affected me. So it can be the key idea, if I want to be a little funny here, is that my brother is great at a distance. So then my hook, now the hook of course has to catch attention. We want it to be a little bit funny. And I could just use what we said right here, my brother is great at a distance. So in fact, I'm going to steal that and I'm going to use it as the hook. And the key idea is that he's great and I love him. Oh, that's so cute. So then the conclusion is just going to be a restatement of these ideas where I say something like, once my brother left home, I really began to understand just how important he was in my life and how awesome he actually is. And then if it's a wedding, we'll end with some stereotyped line about good luck to the bride and groom. And in a wedding, you may want to mention the bride as well. But I'm doing this quick and easy. So if I were to present this speech, right now, this is looking like depending how long I make the story, this is probably a 3-minute speech. If I make this speech, I stand up and I say, you know, my brother, I love him, but he's great at a distance. We need some space between the two of us to really bond. And he's great, I love him, but we need some distance. And I'm going to tell you how I discovered this. So back in high school, we hated each other. We despised each other. We fought constantly, be it with fists, with words. We fought all the time. And this is because we were under the same roof. But then when I was around 17 and he was around 18 or 19, he left the house. And it got a lot quieter in there. Sometimes for the best, because we weren't yelling at each other and we weren't punching each other. But it also because it just wasn't as lively. It wasn't as much fun anymore. And I really learned that I liked having him in my life, even if we needed our space from each other. So I remember one day he called me and he said, Aaron, do you want to watch the original Star Wars trilogy? And I kind of said, oh, okay. Since we didn't get along at the time, it was kind of weird, but I said, okay. So I ended up going over to his new house and we watched the first of the 3 original Star Wars. It was episode 4 now. And it was a legitimately good time. And I had a lot of fun sitting there with him. And I realized how much fun he is, how he's a lively person. He makes the house more lively, how he tells great jokes, how he's great to have around. And I only really noticed this once he left home. And with that distance, it gave me perspective. So to conclude, once my brother left home, I really began to understand just how important he was in my life and how awesome he actually is, if he's a little bit farther away. There, done. So that was prepared on the spot. I did not know the topic in advance. And sure, could the speech been better? Yeah. Is it still acceptable to deliver? I think it went fine. So if we use this structure of coming up with a story first, then supporting it with the introduction, hook, and the key idea, and then ending by repeating how the key idea is supported by the story, then we're going to have a quick speech, easy, ready to deliver in maximum 10 minutes, and then you can practice it and get everything down to a perfect polish before the big speech tomorrow. That's all from me.
Great. Thanks, Aaron. And that's really a quick way to have a really decent speech. I would say most of the guests will be like, wow, that's so cute. You only miss your loved one when it's distant. Therefore, we need to remember we always love our loved one. It's just sometimes we need distance to feel that. And Aaron showed us this really great structure here of how to do the speech. I hope you guys can see the whiteboard here. And there's some example. So basically, to recap, the key point here is you have an introduction. And the importance of introduction, you have a hook to pull people in, pull people through. Then you introduce your key idea, and that key idea need to link with the main story. And that main story need to be something happen in your life. Therefore, you don't need to memorize it. You just remember it and recreate the situation as best as you can, as Aaron demonstrated. You round it up with a conclusion. Usually, it's like some lesson people can take away for all the other aspects of their life. So I hope everybody here who is panicking, you do not. Have a deep breath, calm down, and write a speech, and you'll be doing great tomorrow.